Did you watch the Super Bowl?
No, I did not.
You did not watch the Super Bowl?
Nope. This is third year straight I have not watched a Super Bowl.
Why is that?
I don't know. It's I don't know. I almost want to say I'm rebelling against the commercialism that it represents now, but that's too. No, it's not it. I've lost interest in football.
It's rigged. That's why.
We've kind of mentioned that before on here, and I don't think you're wrong.
I just don't listen.
I did hear there was some really bad calls.
Yeah, there was, but there isn't every Super Bowl.
Swung it. Yeah.
I mean,
there is.
Yeah, but at the same time, I don't know, man. It's one of those things. It's like, what evidence is there? That would be my first question if I was trying to argue with myself. Be like, okay, what evidence do you have against their, like, what do you got? And the only thing that I could think of is that it just generates millions and millions and millions of dollars.
Follow the money.
Follow the money. I mean, if it was fake, just as many people would watch it. And we've seen this because one of the most popular sports ever is wrestling. And everybody knows wrestling. Yeah. I mean, it's just, I don't know. It's just glorified reality TV, man. It's just an escape. Like,
and frankly, the Super Bowl commercials have not been good since probably the early 2000s. I mean, once they did away with the Bud Bowl, I was kind of done.
Yeah. It's like, I don't know, man. And I watched it.
How was the halftime show?
It was good. I thought the halftime show was good. Yeah, I mean, it was Eminem and 50 Cent, Snoop Dogg, Dr. Dre, Mary J. Blige, Kendrick Lamar was there. Then. Yeah, it was like basically, yeah, pretty much. But I liked it. I thought it was pretty good. It only had like a runtime of like 13 minutes or something like that. Like a 13-minute halftime show. Yeah, it was short. It felt like The Weeknd had a much more elaborate and longer set, but I don't know, maybe I was crazy. And I don't know, it just felt like not only did we get these artists for such a short time, there was two of them that probably didn't even need to be there. You could have cut out Kendrick Lamar and 50 Cent and had, I don't know. I thought it was good for sure.
And that's 50 Cent just coming off of his NASCAR appearance the weekend before, too.
Wait, he raced in NASCAR?
No. He was the pre-race show.
Oh, does 50 does he like NASCAR?
Yeah, 50 Cent opened in the Coliseum because they had the race in the Coliseum in L.A. last weekend.
Oh, okay. Gotcha.
Which I didn't watch any of this. I was hearing about it talked about. So he opened, and then I forget who played. They actually literally had a halftime for the NASCAR race so they could take the cars back and work on them and then do the final heats. And they had a halftime show for the NASCAR event. And it was another big name. I just forget who it was now. But anyway, 50 Cent had just played NASCAR the weekend before in L.A.
Man, he has got to be swimming in it even more than he was already. What the heck? I mean, how much money do you need, guy? God. Yeah. I mean, it's one of those things, I guess, whenever you get big enough, it's like, why wouldn't I do it? Like all money aside, it's like just a bigger audience to play for. But I don't know. It was not a hard Super Bowl to watch. I just didn't care. I just don't really care that much. Like, if your team doesn't go, I'll definitely be watching games next year for sure. But yeah, I mean, I'm just kind of slowly losing, and like the Chiefs did really well. You know what I mean? Like, so yeah, I don't know.
I find it's. I guess maybe that's the thing is I'm surprised at how everyone around here was just very not happy to see the Rams do well, which I guess makes sense since they were a former Missouri team. So around here, I guess that does kind of. If I was going to root for anybody, years ago when I was a kid, I loved the Bengals because Tigers, and so that if I was going to root for anybody, it would have been them. But yeah, I ended up just. I was sitting there literally on the couch around 7:00, knowing the game was on, and it was just like, I want to go play games.
Yeah, yeah. I think it's just turning into one of those things like. I'm just a very, very casual fan, and it just doesn't hold my interest that much. You know, it's there's other things that I like more that hold my interest more that I'm more interested in. But it's frustrating because I enjoy football and like I want to like football, and it's like you're really gonna make me choose between the two. You know, I don't know. But I was curious.
I think literally the last Super Bowl I watched was at your dad's house when it was New England and Atlanta, I think it was.
Oh, wow. Yeah, that was a while ago.
That's been like 4 years ago, right?
Yeah, well, longer than that, I think.
Has it been longer than that?
I think it has. Yeah, because...
Okay, and I've watched one at home, so if it's been about 5 years ago or longer...
Yeah, because
that's about right.
Me and Emma have been married for almost 5 years. Will be 5 years in May. And my parents like moved out of that place. Like,
I was gonna say they've been out of that place for a while.
Yeah,
so maybe it is more than 4 or 5 years.
Time flies, but here's the thing.
It does.
Like, we're not. I can't even tell you who was in the Super Bowl. You know, 4 not 4 years ago, but you know, it just you just lose track of who's won. You know.
Yeah.
And I don't know. It's kind of a weird thing. Like whenever me and Emma Emma's always watched football. Whenever I kind of started watching it with her and stuff, you know, the Chiefs were doing really well. And then like year one, like I had watched it and I had been rooting for the Chiefs for a while, you know, just kind of secretly because my dad's, you know, Raiders fan. But like all my friends were Chiefs fans and it was just easy to like the Chiefs, that type of thing. But it's like whenever I really first started watching it with Emma, it's like they go to the Super Bowl and win. So it just kind of changes your perspective. Like in a good way, it's like, oh man, I want to watch and see him do something next year. But it's like I don't care about any other team. I just want to watch the Chiefs. Really, you know, like. So I'm not like a football fan.
Yeah.
I guess I'm a Chiefs fan, if that makes sense.
Yeah, that makes sense. Yeah, I'll probably watch a Super Bowl again the next time the New York Giants go. Which means I'll never watch another Super Bowl in my lifetime.
I'll tell you what, I'll bring you over some pudding, and your readers, and whenever the Giants go again.
All right.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. Yep. So, anyways, all right. Enough chit chat. That was my cold open. How was it?
Yeah, appropriate.
It works. So, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Punch Counterpunch. This is our whenever we feel like it show that me and Ethan Maestri do. My co-host. This is the Wannabe Critic podcast, of course, and this is the show that we do called Punch Counterpunch. Coming in on some news topics this week. Ethan has a bunch. I had very little to contribute, so I'm just going to give some banter and whisper sweet nothings into the microphone. We got a big show, Ethan, but before we get into it, what have you been up to?
Oh, not a whole terrible lot. I've been working my way through some more X-Wing Alliance, getting deeper into that game, reminiscing, enjoying the nostalgia of playing that particular game. I've been the FRL. We have sunset Forza 7. We're done with that series, and done with that game. And so there's this whole debate within the group now of what's next. And so the consensus is when Forza Motorsport comes out, that's what we'll all rejoin on. But a lot of us haven't bought Xboxes. So, and those of us that haven't bought Xboxes have invested heavily into our gaming rigs. And so there's this debate amongst the PC users of iRacing or something else. And I'm of the mindset that while iRacing is probably the superior platform, I don't like the idea of it being a subscription service. You know, you pay month to month to go on iRacing and use it. So I've been getting into R Factor 2 and Assetto Corsa Competizione and, you know, trying to sample those. And I've got a few guys on board and we're trying to sample and find out what's out there. But, or, you know, that's the big debate on what we're going to race with.
What you could do is just man up, spend the $600 and buy the new Gran Turismo because it looks freaking amazing.
It looks amazing.
It looks like they're like giving. It looks like they're finally showing up.
Yeah,
you know, to the racing scene. I'll be there day one. Like I like car games and I like racing games. Like, but I'm a pretty casual fan. It's one of those games. It's like you have to buy it and play it and just like admire it because that's what you.
Yeah.
I mean, my grandpa literally bought the PS1, and Gran Turismo, the original Gran Turismo 2, because he saw it at a Sam's Club on a display and he was like, "Oh my god!" And at that time, it was like the PS1 Slim was out, so he bought that and brought it home. And then he was like just trying to figure out how to play Gran Turismo 2 because of how it looked back then.
Yeah.
So I'm having kind of a moment. It was like, dude, I just want to dive in. It looks so awesome.
It does. It looks great. And if I were to do that, then the FRL would go to a total membership of maybe 2. Because nobody else wants anything to do with Gran Turismo. So yeah, the debate rages on what platform the FRL is going to move to. It's still very much in the air.
How many hours you got?
How
many hours you got into Forza 7? You think?
Man, I don't know. I don't know. I bought it day one.
Are we talking thousands?
Yeah. 1,000 hours probably easily. Yeah, because that's a lot of track time, a lot of just turning in laps and shaving off tenths of a second. And we've run it since when did it come out? 17.
17. Yeah.
Yeah. So we've done that's four full years, 2 seasons a year. So that's 8 seasons of racing. I've put in a lot of time on that game.
Are you ready to be done with it, or are you kind of sad?
Yeah, no, I'm done. Yeah, I'm. The last couple of times, it's like because I have started to get into other, like I said, a set of course, R Factor.
Yeah,
those are as far as physics and car setups and options with pitting and campaigns. It's a superior product. Forza is arcade compared to those games.
So, wow. Okay.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, when do you think the next Forza will come out?
I don't know. What? That's a great question, because I kind of I don't know, when was the last time we saw something on Forza? It was teased.
Whenever, it was teased. It said it was in development whenever they were pushing Horizon 5 quite a bit. I mean, they said it was. They had talked about it.
Last fall really is the last time we saw anything about it, right?
Yeah.
So I figured end of Q1, sometime Q2, but it's been dead. So.
Well,
maybe not even this year.
Yeah, well, that's my thing. And this is what I was talking about a couple weeks ago. Like, how did Xbox go from having their 3 or 4 core games to now they're just, again, buying up everything and putting their focus on that? How does that make any sense for their first-party content? Like, I don't know. It just...
Yeah.
I'm not an industry professional, but it seems like that's a really good way to just... kind of flood your own market a little bit, like you're gonna have your first party titles competing, which I guess technically Bethesda is first party now, but all of these titles are just gonna be competing with each other. It's what it feels like to me. So it's like, and then whenever the new like proprietary stuff comes out, then everything else. I mean, I don't know. I'm still trying to process that entire acquisition, because we're not gonna see like the ramifications or how it shakes out or what it looks like. We're talking a couple years, I think, to probably adjust to this acquisition and see what happens. And there's no way to predict what is going to happen. And, folks, be careful, be careful about your industry professionals talking on podcasts, because you could be defending a point that they're trying to make, and it's probably completely wrong, because we've never seen an acquisition made like this ever. So we can make predictions. We can make wannabe predictions all day long. I think having your own content competing with itself is not good.
Yeah.
So
yeah, I don't know where else you go with that other than integrations like that take a long time to sort themselves out.
Yeah,
so
totally.
I think we're going to be seeing a lot of roiling in the industry as equilibrium is kind of reached once again. It's going to take a while for that to settle out.
Yeah, and I mean, whenever the proprietary stuff does come out, it's like, what does that look like then? I guess everyone else, you're just kind of buying up all these companies and letting them operate on their own with these huge audiences already. So, I mean, I don't know. It just feels weird, kind of, to like, it just doesn't feel the same at all, you know? Yeah. I don't know. As far as me, what I've been up to, Ethan, I've been playing a lot of games. You know, I'm on a quest to complete a lot of games on my going? It's going good. I've been jumping around. There's been some new games that I just couldn't say no to. Right now I'm trying to finish up Pokemon Brilliant Diamond so that I can really dive into Pokemon Arceus, which is a beautiful game. Really, really good. It takes the classic like Pokemon formula and really just invigorates a lot of things, like basically how we saw the game as kids playing it and using our imagination of all these things happening. That's basically what's kind of come to life with this new Pokemon game. And it's just cool. Like the fact that you can throw your monster out and like run around and like you can see him battling something from afar. It just generates some pretty like hilarious moments. But it's also just a very cozy feeling game, and I can't wait to dive into it. I want to finish. I'm trying to make a big point to finish. You know, focus on one or two games at a time. Finish those before I move on, because you know how I am. I like to jump around and stuff like that. But I figured what we could do, though, you know, because I've been trying to complete my backlog quest. I figured maybe we could start with the gaming stuff that I had. I put it like on the dock. So we can just... Am I breaking up? Am I coming through?
Yeah, you're coming through.
I'm coming through. Okay.
It gets a little fuzzy in places, but I'm following.
Okay, good. Sorry about that. Bad internet, ladies and gentlemen. But the reason I bring that up is because my quest to complete a good chunk of my backlog is going to be hampered by this month. I put it towards the bottom here. February is seeing one of the most jam-packed months of releases. And it's just everyone's hyping about it. And it's weird because there's so many industry professionals that have been really quiet. And I think that's why there's been a kind of a lack of reporting in a way, is because there's a lot of people playing these games. Horizon, Forbidden West, Elden Ring, Destiny, the new Destiny expansion, Dying Light was a big thing for a while. There's a game that came out called Sifu that everyone's been talking about. It's one of the biggest months for game releases, and it is about to ruin. I plan on playing at least Destiny, Horizon, and Elden Ring, so it's gonna definitely. I mean, I guess that's, you know. I meant to ask, so the new Destiny expansion, since that is like a new game, does that count towards my 50 games?
Sure,
it's a new campaign. I mean, you know,
it's probably going to sidetrack you for a while, because I know you're a big Destiny nut. So.
I am a big. I actually.
Let's count it.
Okay, cool. Yeah, so I did go all out for this one. I bought the collector's edition, which comes with a pretty dope statue that I'm not going to go grab. Or should I go grab it?
Yeah, grab it.
All right, I'm going to grab it. Yeah, here. Got it. Vamp.
Okay, I'm going to vamp. So while he's grabbing that, I will tell you, whoever's listening, the 9th mission of TIE Fighter has got me. I'm going to make a point. I have not finished TIE Fighter because the 9th mission, or the 9th chapter mission, whatever it is, in the DLC has got me completely stumped. I cannot get past it. I cannot remember how to get past it. I'm probably going to have to go watch a YouTube video, and I hate that.
I'm going to be honest with you. I got so turned off to that game because my thruster doesn't work. So just my aiming works, and I don't really know the controls. So like, there's going to be a lot of homework that I have to do to like even understand how to play the freaking thing.
So that one's not getting marked off your list.
Probably not. Okay. Probably not. We're going to have to figure something out with these X-Wing games. So the new Destiny expansion is called the Witch Queen. and it's a sequel to The Taken King, which came out back in 2014, I believe. And it's pretty dope, Ethan, because the entire first... So, an expansion comes out, and I think they're devoting like 2 years to that expansion, new seasons come out and whatnot and stuff you can do. So it ends up being a lot of content, stuff that you can do. But this time I saw this collector's edition statue. It's pretty dope. It turns on and this lights up, and this entire season is all about doing detective work. So supposedly this little device here is supposed to help me with the mysteries that are about to unfold for the first season of the Witch Queen expansion. So I'm very excited. This is a story that just like it just bleeds sci-fi and fantasy, and I'm very excited for it. You can tell that they said this is their most ambitious expansion yet, so I'm very, very excited.
When was their last release?
2 years ago. Yeah, so
okay, so every 2 years they're coming out with something.
Yeah, so okay. Beyond Light, they're which if that's it ends up being like 3 seasons of content or something like that, I think. I'm pretty sure Beyond Light came out in 2020, either 2020. Yeah, I believe it was 2020. But I've had a blast. I've been pretty consistent this past expansion, and it's been a good amount of fun. I'm ready to move on to something else though, for sure, and have a little bit of change of pace, kind of dip into the horror aspects. But yeah, I mean, 50 games, I think I can still do it, Ethan, because what's going to end up happening is I'm going to be finishing lots of games at the same time on different systems. So we'll see what happens.
Hey, just so long as you've got your wife checking off each one of them, verifying, and then notarizing that. And then once that's submitted in triplicate with a full breakdown report, 500 words at least, then yeah, you'll be well on your way.
Per game, when what the observation per game, 500 word essay observation per game.
That sounds brutal.
She would do it.
Sounds
though.
Like, yeah, she probably would.
She would do it if it was to help me win a bet. She would do it. So what's funny is that I'm going to win this bet, and then I'm not going to enforce my winnings. We're just going to, it's going to be great. But
hey, you remember that one time in 2022 when I rattled off 50 games? Good times.
All right, let's get into some news. It's been 20 minutes. The good people want to hear what you have to say.
Yeah, I've got you know me with science news and space news in particular. But leading off here, I wanted to bring up the BBC News. I woke up on February 9th, and BBC had sent a little thing overnight, and the notice was on my phone. Scientists achieved major breakthrough in fusion technology, fusion power technology.
The power of the sun.
That's
in the
right.
palm of my
Here
hand.
Harnessed in the earth. What had happened was experiments with fusion technology, and I had touched on this in a previous one. There have been some promising advances, and now there's this project to build essentially what will be a reactor. It's a test bed, though, in France. And to help them with the development of this test bed reactor, the JET, I believe it's the JET facility. It's somewhere in England. What the scientists ended up doing was an experiment that produced 59 megajoules of energy over 5 seconds. That's 11 megawatts of power. That may not sound like this is a whole lot. And in fact, they say it equates to being able to boil enough, like 60 kettles worth of water is about all of the energy that they produced. However, when you consider the temperatures that they had to heat this plasma to, and the fact that they used magnetic constriction to hold it in place inside of this chamber, and if you look at the pictures, you can go on BBC and look at the picture of it's that twin bubble, circular chamber. It's very sci-fi looking. I mean, it looks like it's straight out of any sci-fi movie. The fact that they're able to do this is extremely promising. It's yet another advancement toward that type of energy, and it's clean energy. And as we had talked about before, it's exactly what we need to produce a lot more Bitcoin.
Yeah, I was going to say, I mean, with the amount of NFTs that are coming out, they better figure out something. Because no, I'm just kidding. Yeah. I mean, more on that later, ladies and gentlemen.
But we are talking about temperatures over 100 million Celsius. I mean, that's hot. And nothing on Earth is able to contain that kind of heat. So they have to use plasma and magnetism in order to hold it. And they did it. They did it for 11 seconds. Or 5 seconds, sorry. 11 megawatts over 5 seconds. So that's something. So yeah, there you go. That's the major breakthrough from February 9th. Moving on from that, I haven't talked about the James Webb Space Telescope, so let me do that now. The James Webb Space Telescope is a massive telescope array that is going to allow us to see far, far further into space than what even the Hubble Space Telescope has allowed. And over the last 30 plus years, Hubble has really opened our minds and given us insights into the universe that we couldn't have even fathomed just 30 plus years ago. Well, for what everything Hubble did with an 8-foot mirror, we've more than doubled that now with the James Webb Telescope. So we're going to be seeing even further than what Hubble could resolve. It is now, as of January 24th, has entered the Lagrange point 2, which is actually on the other side of the moon, the orbit of the moon. So it's over 1 million miles from Earth. It's now cooling down. There are 18 mirror segments, and they are currently aligning all 18 of those mirrors. That's going to take some time while it continues to cool down 1 million miles from Earth. It's really exciting because here in another 3 to 4 months, we're going to start seeing the first data coming back from the telescope where it's being used properly.
There's a telescope here, and that's going to reflect mirrors millions of miles away and get pictures?
No, all of the mirrors, it's on the telescope array now floating 1 million miles from Earth.
Oh, wow. When did they launch this?
They launched it on December 25th, and it took over a month for it to arrive at its Lagrange point, its orbit point, out beyond the orbit of the moon. It's now sitting there in that gravitational Lagrange point, and it's continuing to cool down, and they're getting all the mirrors aligned properly so that they can turn the cameras on and just start taking just absolutely what will be just stunning pictures. I haven't talked about it because over this last month and a half, we've kind of been holding our breath because it had to basically unfold itself like origami in order to, set itself up. It was all automated. It had to unfold itself in space. And all of that had to work properly for it to get to this point. It's a lot. This telescope was in development when Hubble launched. All right. So Hubble launched in 1989, I think, or 1990 is when Hubble launched. This telescope has been in development since before that launch. So 30 plus years of all the most brilliant engineers and scientists in the world conceiving, working with, and then assembling this massive telescope that's going to do for astronomy what Hubble did 30 years ago, just on an even grander scale. So it's exciting times.
Next year, we'll be living in the world of Mass Effect, ladies and gentlemen.
Yeah, we're gonna find the Mass Effect gate outside of our solar system.
Literally.
It's gonna spot it, and we're gonna be able to go travel the stars.
The guys in Houston,
I'm all ready.
The guys in Houston are gonna be twirling their mustaches, going, "What the hell is that?" Oh god, that's really cool though. I'm super interested.
Yeah,
there's
watch the space. I'll definitely be reporting on when it gets turned on and starts taking
send
pictures.
Photos.
Yep. wish you were here.
Pixar didn't happen.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh god. All right, what's next?
All right, so SpaceX. This comes to us also from February 9th. SpaceX launched 48 new satellites. And then a few days later, a geomagnetic storm hit Earth, and 40 of those 48 satellites went offline and have dropped back into the atmosphere and have burned up. So a little bit of a setback for Starlink. I have talked about on this podcast here before my beef with Starlink. It has fallen on deaf ears, except for internet haters. And, this is This is a very small win in my opinion.
Oh, wow. You view this as a win. This is what's keeping us from doing the freaking podcast good. The freaking internet.
This is why Gabe is frequently hung up, frozen, dropping out, and we can't get a podcast done inside of an hour.
Paying exorbitant amounts for internet.
Yeah, I'll bet.
3 megabit upload, Ethan. 3 megabit upload.
That's weak sauce.
12 megabit download.
Really?
For $160 a month.
I would have figured even in rural, I can't even say it, rural America, I would have figured you'd hit at least 20 at this point. That's not the case, though, huh?
Nope.
Wow.
I know. It's really it's upsetting. And I keep just waiting for my Starlink to come through. I pre-ordered it 2 years ago. Haven't heard a word.
I don't know how it ended up happening, but when I lived in rural Arkansas back in 1999, and I was first getting on the internet, I could hit 56 download, which was amazing. I don't know how. I guess because nobody else was using the internet around me.
Oh, yeah, probably.
It's the only thing I could figure. And then over the line that I had, 56 download, which I thought was amazing. When I moved into Fayetteville, Arkansas, college town, in the middle of town, in the apartment that I lived in, I could only get maybe 28. I mean, it was on a good night. So, yeah, that sucks to be you.
Yeah, it does, but it's going to happen. And then Skynet is going to take over the world, and because I have a SpaceX satellite, I'll be protected. And you won't.
Right, because you're a subscriber.
You're freaking screwed, dude. All right? Just accept your fate.
All right. And then also, let's see, what else did I have here? From February 6th, I put in another BBC article. Meta has announced a new feature. Oh, yes. Personal boundary. Now, I wanted to talk about this for a brief moment. This personal boundary begins rolling out on the 4th of February. It prevents avatars from coming within a set distance of each other, creating more personal space for people and making it easier to avoid unwanted interactions. Now, I have a question with this, because what ended up happening was particularly women were going into the Metaverse, Meta, formerly Facebook, and doing these social interactions with their VR sets, right? And men predominantly were just coming up and getting right in their faces and being generally creepy, not respecting personal boundaries, and obviously doing movements and things like that we won't discuss on this particular podcast because
obscene gestures.
Yeah, there you go. So that this is what this personal boundary is supposed to be preventing. Gabe, I am so sick and tired of feeling like I need to go up to every woman that I encounter throughout the day and apologize for the male species. Why does this have to be a thing? Why can't men just be normal? And by normal, I mean be considerate. I mean, why? I don't know.
This is such a big topic. Like, I mean, the short answer let's be real. The short answer is porn.
Yeah.
I mean, just completely candid. Like, the amount of people that like watch that stuff and just have their minds warped by it, and I mean, it's not just men too. I mean, females, like a lot of them, and it's, I'm just saying, right, for the ones that,
I'm just saying, like in this article, it particularly pointed out the examples of a couple of women that were in this article, this BBC article that I read, in which that was what was happening, and it was predominantly men that were making them uncomfortable. Come on, people. Let people enjoy these environments without feeling like you have the right to push yourself onto them. Yeah. And even though no one is physically being hurt, it's I've been in these VR environments, and it's a little intimidating just to begin with. And then if you've got somebody that's obviously being creepy or doing something obscene,
trying to smell you like in VR,
then that takes that already that I don't know if I'm gonna like this or not, and then just drops it off the map to where
well, yeah, and I mean,
can enjoy themselves.
Men just genuinely don't think about it too, because like, my wife talks about it all the time. She's like, you guys just don't realize like how different it is being a girl, because like you don't have to like look twice whenever you go into the store. Like you're not always like being mindful of your surroundings when you're alone in a parking lot. Like you guys don't have to worry about that type of stuff, and like you just kind of take your life for granted in some ways. And she's told me about that before. She's like, like if it's sad that they already feel that way, but it's even sadder that really, in my opinion, the metaverse is a really, really exciting new time for technology, and like it's objectively cool. Like it just is. I mean, the things that we've been seeing in movies for decades now is actually coming to life, and it should be exciting, but for a lot of people, it's not going to be. Like people who are going to want to dip their toes in are thinking that they're safe in this new environment. Something like this happens, and people are just going to have, there's going to have to be another layer of safety that you're going to have to like kind of conform to, and it's good on Meta's part that they made this a thing. Probably a feature you can turn on or off, I would assume, because there's a lot of freaks out there. They're probably like, oh yeah, try and smell me. You know what I mean? Like, so.
Well, the sad part is that a lot of these guys that are going up and creeping on this woman, it may be the fact that it's another dude.
Yeah.
and you don't know.
Yeah.
So,
you don't.
Yeah. I guess.
Watch your back.
It is what it is.
Yeah, it is. It's
so the question that I left it with at the end here is, what can we do, you and I here on PCP, to encourage better behavior amongst both men and women on the internet?
Man, that's hard.
We've already established one.
Internet.
Get off the porn.
Yeah, quit watching porn. It's bad for you.
Quit watching porn. There you go. That's one.
What else? Is that it?
Say hi. Wave hi. We've solved half the world's problem right there.
Literally, yeah.
The rest of it is just, when you get into the room, wave hi and stand at a respectable distance.
Yeah.
There you go. There is your meta etiquette lesson for this episode.
Treat it like it's real life. I mean, like, you wouldn't do that to someone in real life, would you? Like, come on.
Some people would.
That's true.
And there's just, that's why you have this personal boundary feature, and you'll have to exercise it for that. But for those of you that know, come on,
Yeah,
you know better. So, yeah.
You're giving us a bad name.
There you go.
Freaking idiot.
That's like literally when I heard about this, the next call, I do service calls for day-to-day work. And the next call that I went to was this sweet older lady at a school, and I just wanted to walk up to her and just say, I'm sorry for anything you probably had to deal with over the last 60, 70 years of your life. So
if you would have done that though, but that's the thing too, is some guys think they're helping by doing stuff like that.
I know.
Whereas you go up to someone and she's like, ah, like she like starts like screaming at you because you know what I mean? Like
he's dropped.
That's
oh man, I have to screen grab that because that is a fantastic pose. Oh please don't come back just yet.
Oh,
we are.
I'm about to lose you, I think.
Oh, no. He did come back, and I lost the picture.
Oh,
I was about to screen grab a great thumbnail that we were gonna have to post up there for folks. But
I could hear you talking the whole time, so I was like, oh, God, what's happening? Yeah, my internet's been extra. Yeah. It's actually been done pretty good up to this point, but yeah, I think that's the problem, though, too, with a lot of this is, like, there's a lot of like lonely guys out there that think like that they're the nice guy, and then they just maybe are genuinely trying to be nice. And I'm not saying like the guy's walking up and like being creepy or being nice, but they may think they're genuinely being nice, but then they come off like really, really wrong. I don't know.
For them, have them turn on the personal boundary.
Yeah.
And then, try things. And maybe learn some game.
Learn some game, dude. That's exactly what we're gonna leave it with right there. So,
okay. Yeah, let's move on. This article comes to us from Engadget on February 12th, 2022. This article popped up here. Engadget NFT marketplace halts most transactions due to proliferation of fake and plagiarized tokens. So I'm going to go ahead and read this entire article here because there's a lot of detail in this that I think for us to digest and discuss. So let me go ahead and read this. Cent, the company that last year helped Jack Dorsey auction an NFT of his first tweet for $2.9 million, I hadn't heard about that, is temporarily halting most transactions to address rampant sales of fake and plagiarized tokens. In an interview published on Friday, Cameron Hejazi, the CEO and co-founder of the company, told Reuters, Cent has stopped allowing users to buy and sell most NFTs on February 6th. It continues to operate its valuables marketplace, the place where people can purchase non-fungible tokens of tweets. But that's about it. His quote is, there's a spectrum of activity that is happening that basically shouldn't be happening, like legally. He said Cent has tried to ban bad actors, but compared the effort to a game of whack-a-mole. Every time we would ban one, another one would come up, or three more would come up. Last month, OpenSea, one of the largest NFT marketplaces on the internet, said that more than 80% of the tokens recently created through its free minting tool involved plagiarized work, fake collections, and spam. The admission came after the company had tried to limit the number of NFTs users could mint for free. After reversing the decision, the company said it was working on several solutions to deter bad actors. Before January's announcement, artists and photographers had complained for months that the company hadn't done enough to address the issue of plagiarism. I think this is a pretty fundamental problem with Web 3, Hijazi told Reuters. In the immediate future, he said that Cent may introduce centralized controls to facilitate a reopening of its marketplace. The company could then later explore more decentralized solutions to the problem. Discussion point. This wasn't supposed to happen with blockchain, with marketplaces like this, was it?
Nope.
You know more about it than I do. This wasn't supposed to happen, though, as I understand things.
Yeah, no. I mean, the whole point of an NFT is the fact that, it should be completely original, and it should be, there should be rhyme or reason to it. But I'm sitting here reading this into the layperson that may not be into the, the NFT scene, and I'm very much still out on the outskirts of it, still trying to learn more, and it just changes. As soon as you think you have it figured out, it changes. And then, something else changes. The entire problem with this whole thing, this is the problem. But this Engadget is writing about it like the people who aren't spending millions of dollars and hundreds of thousands of dollars in this space don't already know that this is a problem. So to the layperson, it's probably like, oh, NFTs are the worst. This is the type of stuff that NFT collectors and NFT creators have been dealing with since it's been happening for a long time. But on this scale, that's a lot. OpenSea saying 80%. And realistically, NFT collectors will tell you too, real collectors will tell you that OpenSea sucks. There's no verification, in this space right now. And it's commonly said, it's like, this is the Wild West right now. So unless it has... Going into it, unless it has a verification, it tells you multiple times, hey, there is risk to doing this, or at least it does on OpenSea. I've never dealt through Cent or done anything through Cent, but each project, a lot of these projects have hype surrounded, numbers associated with it, to where it's like, look, this is the actual project. So anything else you buy, you are taking a risk, and you are warned repeatedly by taking risk and saying, hey, this is not a verified thing. This may not be verified. So some of this may not be legit. So essentially it tries to warn you hey, just so you know, we haven't verified this. You may be throwing your money away. If you don't have money to lose trying to get into the space, I don't think it's worth getting in. I don't think it's worth getting into. But on the flip side, it shouldn't be happening on this grand of a scale, I think. 80% of tokens, that's a lot.
That is a ton. Yeah.
Yeah, which is not just...
How do you even begin to wade through what's legitimate and what's not?
So that's the thing, is there needs to be a tool that has a verification attached to it. And, you know, who knows, maybe something like that will be here in the future. But, yeah, I mean, that's a lot. I once saw Gary Vee say that 90% of people in this space right now are just trying to flip. Like, it's a very, very small percentage of it that are actually people creating things legitimate. You know, it's sad. Go ahead. Sorry.
Well, but make your point though before I bring this next point up.
Well, I was just gonna say, you know, it is sad that there is a platform that allows people to do this, and doesn't do anything about it. You know, like OpenSea, like Cent did the right thing by kind of shutting that down. You know, it's like, we're not gonna do, because if I'm reading that right, that's what happened, right? They kind of closed down their operations.
Yeah. They've limited to just the valuable section, whatever they're able to do.
Yeah.
There.
So I mean, it kind of reminds me of, like, you go to like the Xbox Live store, there'd be a time like you could go through and check out all of these games, you know, like, oh, these games are $2 or $3 a piece, you know, like whatever, but they didn't look legit, you know. And unfortunately, like, yes, maybe they are a game, but it's not a good game, and like you're just kind of throwing your money away a little bit. I think in a way that's kind of how I feel about this. The only difference though is it's too easy to go into OpenSea, and, you know, if you're not prepared to do your homework on where it actually came from and like do some investigation, because you can see when it was minted, who's bought it, also, you know, the original listing. You can kind of see, it's pretty easy to see who's trying to scam people and who's not, you know, if you're willing to do some investigating.
Yeah.
But a lot of people won't do that. So
yeah.
And that's another thing too, is just because 80% of tokens, just because 80% of tokens generated had fake or, you know, counterfeit things attached to it, that doesn't mean that most of those sold. It just means that they're in circulation. Yeah. So, I mean, there's a lot of people out there there's a lot of people, most of the people that are getting scammed by this type of stuff are people who are now flooding into the space. The people that understand how the stuff works, they're not the ones getting scammed, you know, for the most part. But I mean, there's plenty of other projects out there that are legitimate, and this is what's scary, and this is part of the Wild West aspect, is there are projects out there that will release product, they'll release NFTs, they will have a roadmap. Am I frozen? Oh, okay. You were just like stone cold for a second.
I'm contemplating.
Yeah, they will release a roadmap. So, like, for instance, there was one called Hatch Draco, and it was basically like you bought this dragon egg, and it was dope, and then the dragon egg would change over time, and you didn't know how rare your dragon was until it hatched. Well, that project was real. Like, it happened. Everything. They got all these people invested. Like, they achieved what they want to make, and then they rugged the project. So deleted their Discord, deleted everything, you know, just took the money and ran. So then, I mean, essentially you kill your market for that. And so you have I have one in my wallet right now that is basically worthless, you know? So that's just, it was gifted to me, but, you know, that's besides the point. So yeah, I mean, was this supposed to happen? No, I think that's the entire point, is we're still Web3 hasn't even happened yet. We're still in the development process. And
I know, but that's a scary quote right there. I think this is a fundamental problem with Web3. Now, as I understand it, the whole point of Web3 is to get us to a point where we are not tied to central processors, I guess. It's supposed to decentralize everything, Web3 is, right? But they're talking about, in order to fix this problem, we have to centralize our controls and then figure out a way to decentralize them later.
I think decentralization, and I think anonymity, I don't know if that's how you say it, being anonymous, I think, is something that people really want, and Web3 is going to make that a lot more possible. So yeah, I guess in a sense, I don't know if the entire purpose is decentralization, but that's definitely a key component of it. And ultimately, it's turning into Ready Player One. I mean, like, legitimately, that's where it's going. Like, you're not going to have, in the next 50 years, you're not going to have to worry about if you want to go fishing or not. Like, there's going to be plenty of parking spots open because people are going to be living in the metaverse, you know, going to work in the metaverse. Like,
right.
So there's the thing saying like, oh, this is, you know, X, Y, and Z are the definitive purposes of Web3, I think you can't even really say what it is yet because
it hasn't been.
It hasn't happened.
Yet.
It hasn't happened. You know, I mean, 40 years ago, David Bowie was saying that we were going to be interacting with our computers. You know, he made a prediction. He was like, we're going to be, you know, this is going to be the core engine for creativity will be computers. And like the person interviewing him was like, that'll never happen. You know, like no way.
And now look at us.
Yeah, I mean, I was watching a movie.
Who would have thought? Not me.
Yeah, not me, not us. They look at us. Really quick, you know, I just thought it was interesting. I was watching I think it's called Steve Jobs. And in the beginning there's a guy talking about a computer and he's saying, you know, we're going to talk to this and it's going to give us the ability to do our daily tasks better, do our jobs better. But in a way, I feel like we perfected that. And now we're trying to do something new with the internet again. And the fact that that's happening and so many people are wanting it to happen, it was different whenever it just kind of happened. You know, like we kind of saw the rise of the trends and stuff like that. You know, whenever Instagram first came out, there wasn't many people using it, you know, and there's all these things. And we are going to be seeing versions of that in the next 5, 6, 7, 8 years because the possibilities with Web3 are endless. So the good and bad and the ugly are way far off. Like we haven't even started the race yet. Like we're still in the locker room, you know.
Well, and also I'm right there with you. I look at the date on this 2/12/22. I put dates on these things because it's always fun to talk about these things and then hear about them a month later and it's fundamentally changed.
Yeah.
And so whatever problem they're working on here, they may have already found a solution or a workable solution for. It's happening in leaps. It's, you know, there was the processor advancements in home PCs in the late 90s, mid to late 90s and into the 2000s. You know, you bought a processor and then 6 months later it was completely outmoded by the next big thing. And we're seeing that kind of in the metaverse level. You know, things are so rapidly consolidating, innovating, and then building, and it's happening faster than anybody can really report on. So I fully understand that I bring this up as just kind of a discussion point, and maybe to help possibly increase a little bit of awareness. But I fully understand that this is a very fluid situation, and solutions are being presented and implemented probably faster than we can discuss them.
Yeah, I mean, it's true. And I mean, is it concerning? Yeah, it is concerning. And, you know, I see a lot of people, I fight with a lot of people on Twitter about NFTs. And I am, just for the record, I am not working, you know, at the company I was working for that's developing NFT stuff. You know, I'm not really sure what I'm allowed to talk about. But I can say that the very small percentage of people who are in this space that are actually in it for the right reasons. So that goes for the creative side as well as the collecting side and the enthusiast side. There's a lot of good that can be had. And there's the fact of the matter is that most people out there that are creating things are very greedy. So until there is a entity of some sort that is willing to sacrifice a lot of time, effort, and energy into creating a verification process that's actually good, and that can verify smaller creators, you know, not just the ones that have sold over 100 ETH in sales or something like that. Until that happens, stuff like this is just going to keep happening. But the people who are in the space doing stuff already, they can spot this stuff from a mile away. I mean, they can spot authentic versus non-authentic. And, you know, the interactions, most people that buy from each other, or a lot of people that buy from each other, they're in similar communities together. You know, they build trust with each other. They get to know each other, become friends with each other. They go back and forth a lot with each other. And there's a connection there, and they just start buying from each other, you know, and I see it happen all the time. And there is a good part of this space that is actually pretty cool and like wholesome, but it's just such a small sliver of the majority. And there are a lot of bad actors out there. And it's It's just it's very interesting to just kind of see.
When you hear about a tweet being sold for $2.9 million, we've talked about it on here before. People hear of something like that happening, there's a gold rush that happens.
Yep.
And not in 1849 when the gold rush happened, there were a lot of people that showed up just to take advantage of other people.
Yep.
And it's exactly the same thing. There's a gold rush happening right now, and there's a lot, like you said, a lot of bad players. Maybe even on the order of 80%.
Yeah. Well, and that's the thing too. It's frustrating though because everybody wants to have an opinion on NFTs, and everyone wants to bash NFTs and like have a negative take on NFTs. And I gotta say, I get it, but it doesn't change the fact that this is where it's going. And if it's not NFTs, it's going to be something else similar to what an NFT basically is. I mean, people are going to be. Go ahead.
I understand this. This is a marketplace that's constantly changing, and now we're starting to see like photographs with non-fungible tokens attached to them.
Yep,
so those photographs can have. But we haven't really advanced beyond digital pictures of various kinds, whether they're animated or photographic. So will it advance further beyond that?
I mean, I think it will. I mean, there's plenty of projects. People think NFT and they automatically assume it's JPEGs. And the fact of the matter is
the majority of what you see.
Yeah, well, I mean, that is the majority of what you see, but NFT photography is so appealing to collectors because the potential of them having a virtual art gallery or something like that where they can take an artist's work that really resonates with them and it's got, the right details on it, the right stuff on it, and that's the only one in existence. It's living in their digital gallery. Yeah. That's going to be extreme. That's going to have value attached to it.
But what's the advantage to buying that JPEG that you came across on the internet on this photographer's gallery? What's the advantage to buying that than just going to Shutterfly and buying that photo and having a print sent to you that you love and appreciate and hang it on your wall?
I mean, I think you could do that as well. I think there's a lot of creators that are transitioning to the NFT space because you're basically guaranteed preservation of your work. You can't delete an NFT. Once it's on the blockchain, it's on there forever. Okay. So, I think that's one thing is like no matter what, there's going to be a trail of someone's work. However that looks whenever it's interfacing, you could literally go to someone's gallery and then literally go up to a picture and like bring up your headset, bring up your wand and see the details and see where it was first minted. It's like, oh, this was first minted on OpenSea on this date. You can see all the details for it and stuff like that. It just opens up so many possibilities that I don't think have been really there before. And I do think, there are a lot of creators that create specific pieces for just NFTs, but they also are renowned photographers elsewhere and videographers elsewhere, selling their work in other places, but they make specific content for NFTs. So, I think about it in terms of a project that comes to mind is like Stoner Cats. So Stoner Cats is Mila Kunis' project and Ashton Kutcher, and they're making movies, elsewhere, but their project, they have control over it, and their community has paid for all that to happen by buying NFTs for that project, and they get a say in what happens in the story. So there's an aspect to it. As you ask the question, like, are we seeing any advancement? Yeah, we are. I think those projects are few and far between because most people don't have the creativity to create something original. But like the Stoner Cats thing, like that's a really cool example. Also, there's a game called Riot Racers. So like I think I'd mentioned it before, like you build your car, and just recently, about a month ago, they had like the actual racers for your car come out, and like, you're going to have, you're going to be able to race your car that you bought, and do all that stuff. Like that is pretty cool to me. And that's all based off of what NFTs you've purchased. So I think we're seeing a lot of projects that like are laying the groundwork, and I think what works versus what doesn't work, eventually there is going to be something that separates the two, because you won't have to question the legitimacy of it. I think about like fake Pokemon cards. Go ahead.
we need to hurry up and get to the point where I can exist in the metaverse. We're having this show sitting on virtual couches in a virtual studio, and I have the latest James Webb Space Telescope image. I purchased that NFT and printed it on the hoodie that I'm wearing in the virtual metaverse. When do we get to that point?
I don't think we're that far off, Ethan.
Okay.
There's virtual spaces that exist that you can purchase as an NFT. So you buy the space, it's created, you can literally put your stuff and you can tour it inside your inside a headset. So I mean, things are rapidly changing like all the time, and that time is not, I mean, it's not far off.
So,
I think about it
at
like,
that point, is that what we're doing? Is punch counter punch? Are we going to be broadcasting from a meta studio at some point?
I would do it. I would try it. I mean, okay. I don't know why not. Why not? I mean,
yeah.
If it got, especially
who wants to see these worthless sacks of flesh on their camera? I mean, come on.
No,
let's move this along. You know?
What it'll be is it'll just be like a digital studio we've built, but it'll actually just have our regular, just our regular faces inside of it. It's not going to be digitized. But I don't know. Right. I think about like,
I'm totally going as a Solston. That's going to be my virtual self.
Yeah, I'm gonna go as a chick. So no.
All right.
I'm going to go as like it's Ethan and Emma doing the show.
And,
no, I'm just kidding.
You will have to turn on personal boundaries when I get to the room.
Yeah, exactly. It's like, get out of here. Yeah. I think about, I think about the days of the Xbox 360 OG dashboard, okay? When you'd cycle through and you'd see your avatar, right?
Yeah.
You'd see your avatar, and I remember getting like a Halo 4 special thing, for my avatar, and he like crashed down and like it was like Chief's pod, basically. He would get in it and stuff like that, and I was always curious as to what other people's avatars looked like and like what accessories they had and stuff like that. To think about that being something that's the equivalent of that, like you can see someone else got something special to display because they played a certain game or got a certain achievement in a game, or maybe someone has something to display because they attended an event in the metaverse that was like one time only, and that has a special token attached to it that you can display or do something. The way people integrate, with each other, I think it's going to change a lot over the next few years, and I think that NFTs are without a doubt a big piece of it, because NFTs are still being widely purchased. Generative art, the digital art we see, it's like you take a core idea and change the features and stuff like that. Mm-hmm. That's like old news. Like, people still do it, but like the thing that's hot right now, or like very, very like up and coming, is, there's a lot of photography out there that is making a lot of money. And, I think it's worth it to at least try to be a part of it, in some way, shape, or form, whether you're a creator or an enthusiast or whatever. I think very soon the appeal for NFTs is going to be like, there's going to be something out there for everybody. I think something that you can buy. It's like, oh man, like for instance, okay, let's say that there's an NFT you can purchase, and that's going to give you first access to the first images for your telescope. $50 NFT. You get the first images exclusive to you. Images that won't be available anywhere else. And you'll actually own a piece of it. Like, I mean, that would be kind of cool, Yeah. I think there's going to be utility out there for pretty much everybody, but going back to your original question, like, was this supposed to happen? The counterfeiting and stuff? No, and it's not going to be a problem whenever it's actually ready.
Whenever a system of regulation fully becomes fully formed.
Yeah,
it just hasn't happened yet.
It just hasn't happened, but it will. It will happen, okay. And these conversations, what will ruin, I think, the NFT space is. Or what isn't going to work is people that are trying to create like their own proprietary, NFT marketplaces. Like they're trying to make their own. I think it's a better idea just to use the ones that are in existence already.
Piggyback.
if it's possible, because the people who are really, for people who really want to get into the NFTs and do stuff like that, I think they'll be happier navigating the people who want to buy gaming NFTs are probably already buying NFTs in general. I don't think that there's very many people that are genuinely like looking to buy or curious to buy, at least in the gaming space. I mean, NFTs in the gaming space are widely hated, from what I've seen on Twitter. Like, nobody wants NFTs, and surprisingly, nobody really wants the metaverse either, which kind of blows my mind. So I don't know. We'll see what happens, but stop making your own marketplaces and just use the ones that are in existence, because it would make it a lot easier for me, at least.
Please stop muddying the waters.
Yeah.
Is that what
exactly.
I'm hearing? Yeah.
That's,
all right.
I would say so.
Well,
I would say so.
I think that was a pretty decent delve into the NFT space again.
Yeah,
I was far less cheeky in this conversation than I tried to be in the last one, because for better or worse, they're out there. And you know what? They are the digital Beanie Baby, but you know what? It'll become something. It will become something.
Yeah, and what people don't realize is with everything that's happening right now, this is the prototype. Like, this isn't what it really. It hasn't even really. I mean, we haven't even really seen the full capacity of what's even available. Like, this is the first. This is comic number 1 or number 0. Excuse me. Like, this is the setup. So yeah, it doesn't surprise me that there's a lot of problems, because whenever you're changing the future, there usually is.
Well, that makes sense.
Yeah. Did you ever see Back to the Future?
Never. No. Never saw it.
You know what irks me about that movie?
Never saw it in a drive-in theater in Poto, Oklahoma in 1985 with my family.
You were at the. That's actually pretty rad. You got to do that.
Yeah. No, it's a distinct memory that I have of watching that movie.
Were you angry though whenever like Marty McFly started disappearing?
Oh, I feared for him. Yeah. I mean, it was very. It created anxiety. Yes.
Well, even as a little kid, I knew that didn't make sense.
He already is sit there and just enjoy the story.
No, I
just
couldn't.
Go for the ride. You couldn't just hey. God, I don't understand people like that. Did you see the new Jurassic Park trailer or Jurassic World trailer?
I saw the most important part of it. Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, I'll go watch it. You want to go? Well, yeah. I was gonna say you want to go watch it, but who knows?
I actually Eli. I watched it with Eli, and he's a huge Jurassic World, Jurassic Park fan. He didn't seem interested when I said, "Hey, they dropped a new trailer." We watched it, and he said, "Okay, I'm ready to watch all the movies again. When are we going to start doing that?" And I was like, "You know what? That's a good idea." And by this summer, hope it seems like Omicron's crested. Less to worry about on that. Numbers are starting to drop locally. I said, if the trend continues and things look good, if it hits in June, summer's been pretty safe. We might try and hit the theater for that one. I'm leaving myself open to it right now.
That's awesome. What you could do is just jaunt on over to Springfield and we could watch it in IMAX.
I'm not watching it in Joplin.
Okay, good. Please call me. Unless you're trying to have a moment with your son.
Omicron or not, that theater's just a hot mess in general. I won't go there. Yeah,
it's just what needs to happen is you need to jaunt on over and we can watch it in the Alamo Draft House and enjoy a beer.
Yes. That sounds great. Okay. I would happily do that. I will pencil that in on my itinerary.
Watch literally the week of. It's just gonna spike so hard.
Whatever the spike was that a pun? Because spike protein, because of coronavirus.
No, I wasn't even thinking about that. Yeah, Ethan's gonna call me and be like, "Yeah, I'm dying. Sorry, I'm not gonna be able to make it to the movie."
I'm coughing up a lot.
Dude, I will tell you, I had COVID a couple weeks ago, and holy crap, dude, it
hurt.
It really does come in waves. First, it's the coughing and the fever, then it's the pooping.
Did you have a Rob Lowe moment? Stop pooping.
Yeah. It was a little rough, yeah, for sure. So, but
Yikes,
if it happens, I don't think I watched the last one, but I probably need to. So.
Oh, Fallen Kingdom?
Yeah, I never watched it.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah, so I definitely need to. I've been playing Jurassic World Evolution.
Is that not a great game?
That's a fun game. That's a fun game. That's a fun game. Like if I'm just like kind of watching TV with Emma, it's like just a perfect game to just kind of like, I have like a thought in mind of what I'm trying to do, but it's not so engaging. Like I don't have to have the sound on. I can just kind of peruse. It always ticks me off though whenever they break my regular fences, and then there's a dinosaur threat, and then I gotta trank them. You know what I mean?
You gotta scramble.
Yeah,
but scramble the jeeps and the choppers.
Yeah, exactly.
Yep.
I didn't realize I accidentally like pressed a button. I didn't realize you could actually drive the jeep to go take care of your dinosaurs.
Oh, yeah. That's my absolute most favorite thing to do.
Man,
is go trank my Tyrannosaur. Or go find them in the forest first of all, and then go trank them.
Yeah,
I love it. Yeah,
we need to have a game club on that game. And I think it would be fun to have like a tycoon / like simulator discussion on Game Club, because I've only played a handful, and I know you've played a lot.
I'm a huge Sim City fan. So
so that'd be fun. Ethan, do you realize we completed a new episode of Punch Counter Punch?
Yeah, in just barely over an hour.
I know. Look at us go. This is what happens whenever I don't really contribute anything.
It gets done.
Yeah, it's actually, it's actually how it should be, just like a regular show. So, but no, it was a fun show. It was a fun show. I'm going to have to forego the after party though, because I'm a tired boy.
No, I get it.
So,
but I would like to state for the record that I was the one that was thinking we were going to have an after party, and Gabe declined. So, mark that on your calendar.
You can, whenever you're on top, for so long, eventually you're going to have to, you're going to take a dip, and, it's just not going to be as fun to party anymore. Just briefly, Yeah. But don't worry, guys. Next month,
recharge your batteries. Next month. Yeah.
Next month I'll be spouting off some idiotic nonsense that'll make you scream in your car, and you're welcome for that. So
there you go. That's what we're here for.
That's what we're here for. We're here to piss you off. Forget entertaining shows. Like Ethan's all about entertainment. I'm about just making you as mad as I possibly can.
There you go. That's our roles.
So
that's our defined role. Put that on a banner, hang it up in the office somewhere. That's our mission statement.
Hopefully by next show, for you visual watchers out there, if there's
holy crap, what a hot mess you got going on.
Yeah, it's worse than it looks. But hopefully I'll have it a little more cleaned up. I do have the drums set up.
I do see the drums in the corner.
Yeah, which I actually have to talk to you about that, because I got a really, really cool project that I'm going to start working on.
I've got a bass in the closet behind me, so.
Fantastic. Yep. All right, well, I want to talk about that, so let's wrap this up.
Okay.
Bring us home.
All right, so if you want to find me on the internet, you can find me on Twitter at Ethan Maestri. Also, go check out Drive Back the Night, an Andromeda series podcast. That's a show that I do when I'm not here on the Wannabe Critic. That's Ryan Mazzocco and myself, where we discuss Gene Roddenberry's Andromeda. Episodic discussions. So we've gotten back on the horse there. We've got a couple of new episodes out. So please go check us out on Podbean. That's Andromeda series at podbean.com.
There you have it. And you know where to find me. As far as just a little bit of housekeeping, so if you made it to the end, a lot of our content is getting kind of put on the back burner a little bit, because I am very deeply invested in editing our new show, Storytime, a Star Wars RPG podcast, which is, Storytime will be transitioning to that format. Have some cool stuff lined up. Have some people that I'm going to reach out to do some lines to kind of ease us in, kind of give us a little bit of a bumper, so to speak, from the first story into the new story, which I'm really excited about. We just recorded a one shot for the prequel to our story, which I'm pretty excited about. But as far as everything else, we're going to be doing weekly Wannabe Critic shows. Keeping it real, we have a couple episodes coming out over the next few weeks, but we're officially on hiatus until March. And then we're going to be reconvening to do the MCU. A guy and his wife is not going to be doing that anymore. We're going to kind of switch to some other stuff, and we're gonna try and tackle the MCU and see how that goes. Probably take it in waves. So season 1 of MCU will be like phase 1, so on and so forth. So looking forward to it. Lots of busy stuff happening. Lots of changes as usual, and just having fun doing it all. So I do have something to say. Wannabe music
and
reviews.
We lost Gabe.
You lost me?
So I'll just cut him off right now, and we'll say thanks for watching. Thanks
I'm
for
back.
listening.
I'm back. I'm back.
He is back.
I'm back, and I heard all that.
And we're done.
Don't you ever try and stop me. Ever. I have one more announcement.
It's
exciting.
Me. I didn't have to do a darn thing. It's your internet, man.
It's exciting. Listen, there's one more thing I have to say. So I've been doing YouTube since 2019, I believe. Mm-hmm. And it was really weird. Started with music first and thought, I want to switch to games, which kind of screwed my first channel. So now I just, whatever I want to post on that channel, I do, because I know YouTube's not going to recommend it to anybody anyways. But I restarted on a second channel, my music channel, and I was like, you know what? There was something there. I enjoyed doing that. And I found my sweet spot with music reactions. So over the past year, I've been doing music reactions. And we finally got to, I've just been doing like one per week. So we're up to something like 70 some odd videos now, and we officially have over 500 subscribers on that channel. So really appreciate that. Anyone who's, kind of stuck with that and paid attention to it. It's just, it feels really good to put something out that it's like I know is going to get at least 1,000 views. Like, that's just a really cool feeling.
Up over there.
Yeah,
I was just noticing that the other day.
It's a really cool feeling because the only thing I ever wanted was an audience, and I have it now. Talking about something I really like doing, and it gives me an opportunity to kind of tell people about the other stuff we do, and I don't know, and it's a really cool, like, just it's just validating a little bit. 500 people, like, if all those people return each time to watch those videos, that's pretty rad. That's a lot of people to play guitar in front of. So keep an eye on that over there, and who knows? We'll see what happens with that in the future. Yeah. So
very cool. Very cool.
Very cool. Well, Ethan, that's going to wrap it up for us here over at Punch Counterpunch. I would like to have a guest on, I think, next month, Ethan.
Let's do it.
All right. Sounds good. Say goodbye.
Auf Wiedersehen.
Well, once again, thank you so much for showing up today. I really, really appreciate it. Again, if this is your first time here, consider subscribing. I know that's the thing that all the YouTubers do. Everyone's asking to sub. The fact of the matter is that it doesn't cost you anything to subscribe, and who knows, you might even see a video every now and then that you actually like or may be interested in. Not only that, I do a bunch of stuff, so make sure you check all the information down in the description down below. We got podcasts, we got Let's Plays, we got all kinds of stuff for all kinds of fandoms. So make sure you check that out. I would seriously, seriously appreciate it, and I would love to see you around here more. I'm Gabriel Fast. I will always be the Wannabe Critic.